Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're stepping into some of the oldest, most mysterious forests in the world, at least in folklore. Because we're going to meet a spirit who's just as wild and unpredictable as the woods he calls home. Let's get into it and see what we can find out about the Leshy.
Okay, I want you to imagine something. You're walking deep, deep in an ancient forest. The trees are so thick, the sunlight can barely even get through. It's quiet, maybe a little too quiet. And then you feel it. You know that feeling, that little prickle on the back of your neck that tells you you're not alone.
Well, if you're in a Slavic forest, that feeling has a name. It's the Leshy. He's the guardian of these wilds, the spirit of the forest itself. And yeah, you just walked right into his house.
So who is this Leshy anyway? The first thing you gotta understand is he's not really a monster or a demon, not in the way we usually think of them. He's more like an elemental force. He is the forest, brought to life. People describe him as having skin that looks just like tree bark and these intense, glowing green eyes.
And make no mistake, this is his turf. He is the absolute master of his territory. He's not just some creature living in the woods. He is the woods. And the number one rule? You show him respect. Because if you don't, you're not just crossing some spirit, you're disrespecting nature itself.
Okay, but this is where it starts to get really, really weird. See, the Leshy doesn't just have one look. He's not stuck in a single body. The guy's a master shapeshifter.
And his biggest trick? It's all about size. Get this, when he's deep in his forest, he can grow so tall, he's looking down on the tops of the trees. But if he wanders out to a meadow, he can shrink himself down so small, he's hiding behind a single blade of grass. So yeah, you never really know what you're looking at.
And the little details about him are just as bizarre. They say he's got blue blood for one. Sometimes he shows up with horns. But my favorite detail, the one that's just so perfectly creepy, he wears his shoes on the wrong feet. It's a classic folklore thing, right? A little sign that this being is from, well, somewhere else. A place where our rules just don't apply.
The bottom line is, his control over the forest is total. He doesn't just hang out there, he runs the whole show. He can summon the wind, tell the animals what to do, he can even turn himself into a mushroom just to watch you walk by. When you're in his forest, he is basically a god.
So he's not a demon, but he's clearly powerful. What's his deal then? This really gets to the heart of who the Leshy is. He's not good or evil. He's something else. He's both a guardian and a total prankster, and you never know which one you're going to get.
And that's the thing to remember. He's not malicious. He doesn't do things just to be cruel. Everything he does is either to protect his forest or, maybe just because he thinks it's funny.
And this is what makes him so fascinating. On one side, he's this fierce protector. He'll go after disrespectful hunters. He'll defend his trees. But on the other side, he's a trickster. And his tricks can be anything from kind of funny, like making you walk in circles or hiding your axe, to, well, deadly. Seriously, some stories say he might just tickle you to death. I mean, can you imagine? It's somehow both ridiculous and completely terrifying.
So let's say you're out hiking and you think you've stumbled into his territory. What do? Lucky for us, the old stories gave us a sort of Leshy survival guide. There are actual rules you can follow.
It really comes down to three basic things. Number one, and this is the big one, show respect. Don't just snap branches for no reason or mess with the animals. Be a good guest. Number two, leave him a little something, an offering, to show you're friendly. And number three, if you do get on his bad side, you need to know the escape plan. There's a very specific countermove.
And we're not talking about anything fancy for the offering. People would just leave a piece of bread, a little salt, maybe some tobacco on a tree stump. It was just a small way of saying, hey, I see you. I know this is your place. I come in peace.
Okay, now for that countermeasure. And this is my favorite part. It's so brilliantly strange. If you're completely lost, walking in circles, and you know it's the Leshy messing with you, you stop. You take off your clothes, turn them inside out, and put them back on. Then you switch your shoes to the opposite feet. You're basically fighting weird with weird. By copying his own upside-down nature, you confuse the spell, and poof, you can find the path again.
But the Leshy isn't just some local ghost story. He's actually a pretty big deal in the grand scheme of Slavic mythology. He's got a direct line to one of the major gods.
That god is Veles. Veles was a huge deal. He was the god of the underworld, of cattle, and of all things wild and untamed.
So you can think of the Leshy as Velus's guy on the ground, his warden for all the forests here in our world.
And this is interesting because Velez was also the god of cattle. The Leshy's job description got a little bigger. He wasn't just in charge of the deer and the bears in the forest. Shepherds would actually make deals with him, asking him to protect their cows and sheep when they were grazing near the edge of the woods. So he was a guardian of the borderlands, too.
So when you put it all together, the shape-shifting, the tricks, the connection to the gods, you start to see that the Leshy is way more than just a simple boogeyman to scare kids. What does a figure like this really represent?
And that's really the big question, isn't it? Is the Leshy just some monster from an old story? Or is he a symbol for something much, much bigger? Is he maybe the personification of nature itself? Powerful, neutral, sometimes beautiful, and sometimes incredibly dangerous? A living reminder that when we go into the wild, we're not the masters there. We're just guests. What do you think?